Masih menyimak Tech Telco Forum 2026 dan untuk agenda berikutnya kita ketahui di tengah akselerasi digital yang luar biasa kita tidak lagi hanya berbicara tentang perlindungan sistem IT semata. Hari ini tantangan jauh lebih kompleks. Bagaimana memastikan keamanan yang end-to-end dari sistem digital hingga operasional fisik di lapangan. Karena ketika IT dan juga OT sudah saling terhubung, satu celah kecil saja bisa berdampak sangat besar. Tidak hanya pada data tetapi juga pada operasional bisnis, bahkan keselamatan publik. Itulah yang akan kita bahas dan menjadi agenda perbincangan kita dalam sesi end-to-end protection, building cyber resilient ecosystems across IT and OT environments. And to set the stage for today's discussion, it is important for us to look at the bigger picture, how global trends are shaping the way organizations secure their digital infrastructure, especially as IT and OT environments become increasingly interconnected and inseparable. Very often, the biggest risk actually come from the blind spots, areas within infrastructure that are not fully visible or well understood. And to share a global perspective on this, it is my pleasure to invite Mr. Lanre Rotimi, Datacenter Cybersecurity Program and Product Manager from Uptime Institute. Please welcome Mr. Lanre.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you permit me to speak English. I'm perfecting my language skills, so maybe next time we have this conversation, I'll be able to flow fluently with you. However, I am responsible for cybersecurity program at Uptime Institute. Uptime Institute is an American company, but I'm based in the United Kingdom. And for the last 15 years, I've fairly worked tirelessly to help secure the digital civilization that we are all enjoying right now. Not as a regulator or an economist, but as a cybersecurity professional, as an advocate of good cybersecurity controls, and as a concerned global citizen. One of the perks of my role is that I get to travel across the world to support Uptime clients and my colleagues across 121 countries. So, I consider the airport and the airplane as extensions of my workspace. So, apart from some airline staff asking me, "Oh, Mr. Lanre, I thought I saw you off boarding this morning. Where are you going again this evening?" Apart from all these jokes I get at the airport with airline staff and airport staff, I also get to see firsthand at national level the impact of digital economy, of digital transformation. And I'll tell you a very short story. It was 9 a.m. on October 10th, 2025. I landed in a country with GDP of nearly $500 billion. But to my surprise, there were hundreds of people at the airport queue because immigration was addressed completely manually. And when I talked to some people on the queue, many of them have missed their connecting flights, and many have spent more than 2 hours on the queue as well. But fortunately for me, every time I have to travel down to Indonesia, I don't have to worry about this type of problem. Why? Because from the convenience of my mobile phone, I apply for my e-visa. Within 24 hours, I have the visa. When I get to the airport, I scan the QR code, submit my immigration details, no contact. When I need to get out of the gate into the country, I scan my e-visa, no contact. And to even top it up, when I need to get to my hotel, I pull out the same phone, get a grab, boom, I'm in my hotel. However, this did not begin today. This is an intentional investment a country like Indonesia has made. And many of us in this room will probably remember Indonet. That was more than 32 years ago, the first internet service provider in the country. And we've moved beyond that to the national strategy the Palapa Ring project, connecting each city, each regency on fiber. To build on that, there's the Industry 4.0, the rise of automation and industrial automation for this country. But last but not the least, there's the growth of cloud and data centers, completely enabled by the 2022 data localization law. So in my view, there's no better time or better place to speak about securing the digital ecosystem, especially across IT and OT, than right here and right now. With this, let me quickly share with you a few things. So, Uptime Institute is known as the Digital Infrastructure Authority because about 30 years ago, when organizations and nation states started taking advantage of what is known as the dot-com boom, organizations could not marry their business requirements to their data center needs. That's why I chose to focus on data center in this conversation. However, Uptime stepped in. We created a vendor-agnostic standard, which has helped organizations to determine what their business need is, and then they were able to build and become resilient based on their business requirements. But beyond that, it means we've certified more than 4,000 data centers across the world. Thus, we help certify the design. At construction, we help certify to make sure that what you are building is exact replica of what you design. And at facilities level, we also help you understand your operations from what you design as a business need. And the standard we have, the open source standard, our intellectual property, has now been adopted by thousands of organizations across the world, from hyperscalers to colo providers to enterprises, you name it. Then, what does this mean? Over the last 3 years, Uptime has engaged in deep market consultation because we see a trend. Data centers are getting attacked by a lot of different cyber attackers. Then, we had to work with a mix of colo providers, hyperscalers, to first determine why do we have this number of security gaps across data centers. And then we defined the problem, and because of the urgency, we created a simple solution that can give holistic risk visibility across data centers. And you might be asking, we are talking about IT and OT. Why is data center in the question? Some of the most critical infrastructures operated by operations technology and a mix of IT, including IoT systems, are data centers. So every time I click a button on my phone and it gives me the response that I need, I know that this beautiful show is only as strong as the back-end infrastructure. So OT systems literally run all our data centers. And their risk profile is completely different to the IT systems that are in the data center. However, to wrap it up real quick, Uptime has been tracking outages across data centers for the last 16 years. And within the last 2 years, cyber attacks are now making it to the top as some of the biggest causes of outages. Also, we looked at the type of data center attacks. They are frequently ransomwares. Third-party risk is an enabler. OT is a very easy point for attackers to get into. And then the type of cyber attackers we're talking about are nation-states, advanced persistent groups who have the means. They work in shifts. They wear suit and tie and go to the office every day. What's their target? They want to rest in the data center's network and see any opening so they can perpetrate their evil. Also, third parties and remote access, because they are not as governed as our IT systems, they are very, very prominent in causing attacks in data centers. Also, across different nations, we are seeing increasing regulatory scrutiny. Data center operators are being held accountable consistently for citizens' data, for user data, you name it. Also, we looked through the industry. While there are some regulations and some standards for the industrial control systems in manufacturing, we have some IT systems standards as well, such as ISO, but unfortunately, as important as the data center environment is, we don't have a single standard that can guide operators, investors, insurance to understand how they actually apply security controls that covers the integration of the physical, the IT, the OT, and the IoT systems that makes up our data centers. And there's no better picture to depict that connection than number 6 here. You have your IT system, the OT systems, external suppliers, nation-state suppliers of systems like your water, your electricity, etc. Too much to consider when it comes to a data center, but that's what makes an attacker very happy. Now, last but not the least, Uptime did not leave it as just a problem. The same way we stepped in 30 years ago to help marry business need to the type of infrastructure you construct, we are here. We have what is called lead rating. Uptime lead rating is helping organizations rate their important cybersecurity controls, the level of maturity, so they know their next level of investment. And last but not the least, we created Data Center Cybersecurity Assessment. It's the first in the world to consider all the loopholes, complete white box testing, looking from inside out. And what we see all the time is, they'll be like, how come with the CISOs at data centers will be like, how come we did not think about that? Wow, record that. Please help us write that down. We need to mitigate this gap as well. So, before I close, I just want to say, we have a leaflet that explains data center cybersecurity assessment by the exit over there, so help yourself to one. It will explain it to you better. But with that said, thank you very much for listening, and I'll be joining the panel session now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Lanre. You may sit next to me. Thank you so much for walking us through how organization can build truly end-to-end cyber resilience. And we're going to talk more about that inside the discussion. But for now, we're going to move to the next presentation. Kalau tadi kita sudah melihat sisi global framework dan juga best practices di level infrastructure, sekarang kita akan masuk ke perspektif yang juga lebih praktikal, di mana teknologi di level cloud dan juga hybrid environment benar-benar bisa diimplementasikan di lapangan. Karena pada akhirnya, yang dihadapi oleh tim IT di industri adalah kompleksitas yang nyata, yaitu multi-cloud, hybrid system, dan juga kebutuhan visibility yang seringkali terbatas. Untuk itu saya undang Bapak Stephen Tanuwijaya, Senior Cloud Consultant dari Sangfor Technologies Indonesia. Kepada Bapak Stephen kami persilahkan.
Ya, selamat siang Bapak Ibu sekalian. Salam sejahtera, perkenalkan saya Stephen Tanuwijaya dari Sangfor Technologies Indonesia as a Senior Cloud Consultant. Oke, pada siang hari ini mungkin kita akan sedikit sharing ya tentang, pertama kita akan memperkenalkan dulu tentang Sangfor as a company, kemudian kita akan jelaskan juga perspektif Sangfor dari sisi cybersecurity, infrastructure, AI dan juga IT and OT. Oke, jadi for a quick recap, Sangfor kami adalah perusahaan cybersecurity dan cloud computing dari China. Kami sekarang udah ada lebih dari 100.000 customer worldwide dengan pengalaman lebih dari 25 tahun. Termasuk di Indonesia sendiri kami juga sudah lebih dari 15 tahun. Saat ini di Indonesia pun kami punya local representative office dengan tim mencapai 50 orang. Di sana kami punya tim sales marketing dan juga ada after sales support untuk yang bisa membantu Bapak Ibu sekalian. Baik, jadi dari perspektif Sangfor sendiri untuk mengadopsi teknologi-teknologi terbaru di Sangfor itu kita sebutnya adalah sinergi gitu ya. Jadi kami berusaha sebaik mungkin bagaimana kita mensinergikan baik dari sisi infrastruktur maupun dari sisi cybersecurity dan juga AI maupun dari IT dan OT. Kami punya unique value di mana Sangfor sebenarnya adalah perusahaan cybersecurity di mana kami membuat sebuah inovasi dari sisi infrastruktur atau virtualization private cloud di sini sehingga kita bisa menanamkan teknologi cybersecurity juga di sana yang kami sudah kembangkan lagi dengan adopsi AI. Makanya kita sebut di sini adalah sinergi. Nah, ini adalah journey-nya gitu ya. Jadi memang Sangfor pertama kali adalah cybersecurity company, tapi kami mulai masuk ke ranah infrastructure atau virtualization yang paling dasar itu di tahun 2016, di mana kita sudah enhance itu menjadi private cloud solution di tahun 2018, kemudian kita juga sudah masuk ke hybrid cloud solution di tahun 2022 dan roadmap ke depannya adalah untuk bisa masuk juga ke ranah multi cloud dan juga tadi AI. Nah, kami berusaha sebisa mungkin gitu ya, supaya kita bisa hardware agnostik. Jadi memang secara companies, Sangfor kita berusaha hardware agnostik mungkin. Jadi kita tidak ada vendor locking di sini. Terutama di sisi infrastructure, di mana di virtualization platform kami itu kita bisa running di atas x86 server atau storage dari existing Bapak Ibu sekalian. Disinilah letak efisiensi yang bisa kita tawarkan. Jadi banyak dari customer-customer kami itu yang mereka masih bisa merutilize existing investment yang sudah mereka lakukan. Kemudian ini juga terjadi di sisi yang lain, terutama di sisi cybersecurity gitu. Jadi karena kami merupakan software company dari sisi paling dasar atau infrastructure, kita berusaha untuk melakukan atau melindungi security-nya itu dari level virtualization-nya juga. Disinilah makanya kita bisa mengimplementasi juga yang namanya NAV atau Network Function Virtualization dari multiple vendor juga gitu. Jadi kita bisa melakukan proteksi itu dari level yang paling dasar atau yang paling fondasinya gitu ya. Kenapa? Karena biasanya AI gitu atau IT dan OT itu udah di layer yang di atas atau application. Nah, untuk bisa mempunyai sebuah application atau AI gitu ya yang mumpuni atau yang canggih, biasanya kita nggak boleh lupa dari sisi fondasi atau infrastruktur. Sama seperti bangunan. Meskipun kelihatannya bangunannya itu canggih gitu ya, tapi kita nggak boleh melupakan dari sisi fondasinya pada saat membangun di awal. Karena letak dari kekuatan strukturnya itu adanya di fondasi. Nah, disitulah makanya kami berusaha sebagai cybersecurity and cloud consultant juga, bagaimana caranya kita bisa mengamankan itu dari sisi yang paling dasar atau foundationnya. Nah, ini juga yang kami lakukan gitu ya. Jadi bagaimana kami berusaha untuk melakukan efisiensi, kita protect customer investment, tapi kita juga berusaha untuk nge-reduce TCO-nya karena mungkin sekarang banyak sekali isu global yang menyebabkan kenaikan harga dari berbagai sektor industri gitu ya, termasuk di IT juga mengalami kenaikan yang cukup signifikan dari berbagai komponen. Nah, di sini kami berusaha bagaimana memberikan solusi yang bisa lebih efisien. Kemudian juga yang paling penting juga dari sisi keamanannya gitu ya, terutama juga dari sisi migration, bagaimana kita bisa memitigasi atau kita memberikan zero risk migration. Nah, ini adalah beberapa highlight gitu ya. Jadi memang Sangfor sendiri tadi kita sudah lebih dari 8 tahun experience ada di Indonesia, lebih dari 9 tahun juga kami berada di industri IT di Indonesia termasuk di virtualization atau infrastructure. Kalau cybersecurity mungkin lebih dari 8 tahun, sekarang udah lebih dari 1000 customer juga kita ada di Indonesia. Dan untuk customer satisfaction-nya saat ini kita itu sangat bagus karena lebih dari banyak customer yang sudah menggunakan produk kami itu lebih dari 5 tahun. Dan di sini kami berusaha makanya supaya bagaimana kita bisa mengsinergize daripada si AI, kemudian juga infrastruktur dan juga IT dan OT-nya. Sedikit highlight, jadi ini adalah beberapa customer yang sudah kami bantu, yang ada di Indonesia, beberapa di sektor enterprises, kemudian di sektor pemerintahan, dan juga ada juga sektor banking, dan lain-lain. Nah, sekian untuk materi sampai di siang hari ini, semoga membantu. Sekian dan terima kasih.
Baik, terima kasih Pak Sipen. Saya persilahkan untuk duduk. Ya, pemirsa dan hadirin sekalian, setelah berbagai insight yang sudah disampaikan, tentunya banyak hal juga yang perlu kita diskusikan dan nanti akan ada beberapa narasumber saya, yaitu Ketua Tim Pengukuran Keamanan Siber D41 BSSN, lalu ada Chief Information Security Officer BNI, lalu juga akan hadir Cybersecurity Consultant Sangfor Technologies Indonesia. Tetapi kita harus jeda terlebih dahulu, pemirsa jangan kemana-mana, Tech Telco 2026 akan kembali usai jeda, tetaplah bersama kami.